Welcome to HB Tuner's Ford Gen 2 Coyote Training Part 31. This training module we're going to be exploring how to dial in our transient fuel tables so we have proper fueling under a large throttle change or a large burst of airflow as we're driving, might be downshift, might be going full throttle. A lot of things to cover here. Let's jump in so we can check this out.
Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at how to accomplish our transient fuel tuning on our Gen 2 Ford Coyote applications. Now, our transient fuel tuning is something that we typically don't have to adjust, but I wanted to bring this in as a subject for our training course because there are some circumstances where we might need to adjust our transient fuel tuning. If you've installed a positive displacement supercharger, such as a Whipple, you might need to adjust your transient fueling. You might be overfueling or underfueling your engine. And if you've changed the intake manifold or throttle body on your engine, you might also need to touch your transient fuel tuning. So we're going to get into why and how we adjust our transient fuel tuning here in a little bit, but let's go into our calibration file. Let's first find where we can locate the transient fueling tables, and then we're going to talk about the purpose of transient fueling and just understanding what it actually accomplishes. So I have my calibration file open here. I've labeled the calibration file transient tuning. This is the same calibration file I've been using all along for all the other videos in our training course. It is for my 2017 Mustang GT, so we've been modifying this with each subsequent training tutorial as we move through the training course. I'm going to go up here to our engine tab. I'm going to go here from my general all the way over here to fuel, and now under fuel I'm going to work my way over here to transient. Under transient, we can find both an acceleration and deceleration aspect to the transient fueling. And here we find we have a gain and a time constant table. We also have a gain at startup and time constant at startup. So we can take a look at what separates these tables here. Essentially, we have two different modes that the tables account for, a startup mode and then a normal operation mode. Now, there's an acceleration and deceleration, and this is going to be characterizing as we're accelerating or having a positive rate of change in our throttle movement, meaning our throttle is going to be snapping open a certain amount of percentage of blade movement over a period of time would be acceleration. Deceleration is going to be the blade movement closing over a certain period of time. So a rate of change and a throttle movement over a period of time. And essentially what this is trying to account for is bursts of airflow either entering our engine under acceleration or airflow being cut off very abruptly in our deceleration. In the situation with our acceleration, if we're driving along steady state conditions, our mass airflow sensor is very accurate in determining our air mass entering our engine. In steady state, we can provide proper fueling for our engine and have no issues. We're going to get into a situation if we have a huge throttle change. So let's say we're part throttle and we want to go full throttle, and we just slam the throttle all the way down to the floor. So it's going from, let's say, 20% pedal movement to 100% pedal movement. That period of time, traveling between 10 or 20% throttle to 100% throttle, we are going to have a huge burst of airflow entering the engine. And we can't characterize that with our mass airflow sensor. Now we know we have our speed density calculations that are going to be inferring or calculating the air mass in the situations where the mass airflow sensor isn't accurate. So in the transient, the base pulse width, or the pulse width that we're trying to calculate to send to the injector, that's coming from our speed density inferred airflow calculation. So we have our base pulse width, let's say in a transient condition, large throttle movement, we have our speed density kicking in, we can determine the air mass. We know our equation fuel mass is equal to air mass divided by target air fuel. We know the air mass, we know the target air fuel, we can then figure out the fuel mass. We convert the fuel mass into an injector pulse width or the base pulse width by knowing all of our fuel injector data. So low and high slope and our offset values equate to the base pulse width. Now from there, that base pulse width isn't enough to characterize how much fuel we need to add for that very, very brief period of time. We're going to be using the transient fueling to fill in the blank, so to speak, so that we have everything dialed in properly so we deliver the proper amount of fuel. Now, in the opposite situation, let's say we're driving along and all of a sudden we're at 20% throttle and we just come off the throttle right to no pedal, so we're on 20% pedal coming right off the no pedal. We're going to find that we have a very quick change in our airflow going the other way, so essentially cutting off our airflow, and that's what the deceleration is used for, the deceleration transient fueling. Now, in most situations, I don't touch my deceleration fueling. Most of the time, the acceleration is the only thing that I need to adjust, and in fact, I can't remember the last time I've had to actually adjust my deceleration fueling or a Gen 2 Coyote. The acceleration here is what we're going to be primarily.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.